Hey.
Alright, today we are talking Jalen Brunson. He just had a career year in his first season with the New York Knicks, averaged a career high in points per game, assists per game, 3-point attempts per game, and 3-point shooting percentage across the full season. It was his first time being given the reins to a team. He was the full-time starting point guard after some time in Dallas, where he spent some few years on the bench, finally knocked the starting lineup, but ultimately had Luka Doncic playing next to him, so did not see that much run at point guard other than, bench lineups and such. And a lot of people were upset that he was given a 4-year, $120 million contract about a year ago. And I have to say, with hindsight on my side now, it is crazy to think back a year and think about what people were saying about Jalen Brunson and where he was at in the league. A bunch of people thought that contract was an overpay and that Jalen Brunson was a Nepo baby. Shout out Cam. But as I said, he had a career year. He proved everyone wrong. He's now killing it on Team USA. Seems to be earning himself a starting spot. And for me personally, he has changed my entire feeling about this Knicks team and their future and what they're capable of. Even the higher-ups in the analysis business saw the same things, as there was one voter in the MVP ballot who actually gave him a 5th place vote this past season. And he might have been wrong, but I appreciate him doing that. Anyway, actually getting into the clips and film, I'm not even really sure where to start because Jalen Brunson is just such a good all-around basketball player. He really doesn't have any holes in his game. He's a tremendously hard worker who always puts 100% effort out on the court. You can tell that he's a Villanova guy and that Jay Wright taught him well. On the offensive side of the ball, he can run point guard, he can pass, he can play make, he can score from all 3 levels. And even though he's not the craziest athlete when it comes to defense or just athleticism in general, he's very good at, staying on the ground. He has tremendous footwork, tremendous basketball IQ, so that, even if he's not the fastest or he's not jumping the highest, defensively he puts in a ton of effort, he tries his hardest, and with someone like Brunson who offers so much to your team, that's all you can really ask for from a defensive standpoint. And digging deeper into athleticism, I feel like one note I took to sidetrack a little here, I feel like there's a lot of people who are very easy to tell on a basketball court. Fans can see him play for a few minutes and say, wow, vertically, that guy is tremendously athletic. He can jump very high. He springs off his shoes. It's very easy to see. But Jalen Brunson is a much rarer, unique type of player where he's not vertically athletic, but he's very horizontally athletic. Think of someone like Kyrie Irving, who's just very shifty, although Brunson's not necessarily shifty in the same way. His footwork is so amazing that it's just tough to stick with him when he's got you in a triple threat or when he's post you up. He just has tremendous balance that he's able to get a clean look pretty much no matter what. You can tell he really works on his craft in the post, and it's a dying breed, especially for guards, so it's really cool to see someone bringing it back and bringing it back effectively. So yeah, if you're guarding Brunson and he puts you under the hoop or into the paint and posts you up, it's pretty much over at that point. And I mentioned at the top of this video that I'm very comfortable calling him a 3-level scorer. He's killer in the mid-range. He can get hot from 3, although he doesn't shoot crazy percentages from 3, but he shoots well enough that defenses have to respect him. You can't go under screens on him. You have to give him a good contest or else he will knock it down. And he's shown that he can knock down a bunch in a hurry. And then go with the mid-range. This kind of ties into the post work just because he's got the little post hook. He's got the post fade, which I kind of count as mid-range too. But yeah, it's really amazing. He only needs just a sliver of separation to get that little fading jump shot off. He's got beautiful arc, and you can tell he's just comfortable taking those kinds of shots. He even has a nice little bag of step backs and, pickups where he just gives himself that little extra amount of space. Again, because, physically, he's not the most athletic guy, but when it comes to that footwork again and that balance, he's just excels so good at those spots that he's able to use those to create his separation, whereas you see other guys who, use their physicality to create separation. But no, Brunson, totally unique in that field of the game. It was actually interesting to note that, when he drives to the rim, it's actually decently rare that he actually finishes with just a normal layup or something. He definitely does it. I shouldn't say it like that. He does finish with layups, but not as nearly as much as a bunch of other point guards and guards just in general in the league. He'd much rather decelerate and turn that shot into a floater, or again, just put his back into his defender and use the baby hooks or the little turnarounds. But it is interesting to see someone play with such pace, yet at the same time play at a slower pace. And when it comes to his playmaking, it really wasn't anything crazy. It was a lot of basic stuff. Fundamentally sound player, a lot of nice pick and rolls where he hits the roller on a bounce pass, or he drives into the paint, gets to that triple threat post up position, and then is able to kick out if defenders come and help. And I'll mention the IQ here again because he very rarely turns over the ball, and that's probably the best part about his playmaking. He's never really going to put up crazy assist numbers. He'll hit double digits every couple of games or so. But more importantly, he's a point guard that takes care of the ball. And at the end of the day, that is a trait that is becoming more and more necessary on a team that wants to win. Overall, Jalen Brunson is just such a fundamentally sound point guard. Again, there really aren't any holes in his game. And a big part of that is because, just as I mentioned at the top of this video, again, at the end of the day, he just always is putting 100% effort in on the basketball court. It's been noticeable in these Team USA scrimmages and the one game that I've seen so far. I mean, he's just hustling to his end. And it's a really crazy thing to think, but when he's got it going, he is one of the most unguardable guards in the entire NBA. I mean, watch this play and just no one's stopping that. And it's gotten to a point that, again, flashback a year ago, people were calling him overrated. They're saying he was overpaid. And now here we are today, and his entire career, outcome has changed for the fans. In fact, I'd go as far to say that he is now underrated and underpaid in terms of his contract and his status in the league. Me personally, I think I might be comfortable calling him a top 5 point guard in the NBA right now. I know point guard's a bit of a, gray area position with how teams are ran nowadays. But seriously, I'll take you through the names if you don't believe me. Now, obviously, you have the top of the top with like Luka, Steph Curry, SGA. I think those three easily clear him no matter what. So, those three out of the way. He's not top 3. But then you get to this range where it's like Damian Lillard, Ja Morant, Trae Young, Kyrie Irving, maybe a Jamal Murray if you're feeling hot after his little championship run. I think Dame is really the only one that is safe, is close to safe to being above Jalen Brunson. But everyone else, Ja's had some off-court issues. Same with Kyrie. Trae Young just isn't exactly a fan favorite. Has never really been a fan favorite since he got to the league. And again, Jamal Murray might just have some extra fan service after the championship run. But the point I'm trying to get at, Jalen Brunson is at least in the conversation to be a top 5 point guard. And if you were to say that to people a year ago, I think they would think you're crazy. But again, for me, in getting back to the New York Knicks, I had no hope for this team when it was Julius Randle as the 1, and they had that awesome playoff run where they got to the 4 seed a couple years ago, and people were excited, and for good reason. The Knicks hadn't been a competent team in years, but in reality at that time, they didn't have any future. Then they went out and got Jalen Brunson, then they make the 5 seed, and they beat the Cavs in a bit of an upset in that first round, and then get smoked by the Heat. And although it might not seem like a very productive year for the Knicks, I do think that this was getting them on the right track, as Jalen Brunson is on a great deal. Hopefully with this Team USA stint, he can attract some other talent in the coming years to maybe sign to New York as a big free agent. And there are actually other players in the Knicks that I'm enjoying recently. I love Quentin Grimes. Josh Hart is a winning player. Emmanuel Quickley will continue to be an awesome bench piece for Jalen Brunson. But unfortunately, until they figure out the Julius Randle situation, he's just not a 2. He's not good enough to be the complement to Jalen Brunson. If they do want to be a winning team and compete for championships, I do think they're going to have to get some more help. But again, Jalen Brunson has reignited my faith and my hope for this team to eventually maybe figure things out in the future. And although that might seem like a very bleak statement, especially if you're a Knicks fan, I will again reiterate, Jalen Brunson should be restoring your faith. He is a true number 1 player. He's a top guard in the league. He can score the ball. He plays hard defense. He can play make. He has no real holes in his game, and that is the reason why you should trust him with your team. But that's enough of me talking about Jalen Brunson and the Knicks. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see y'all in the next one.